schools with 2 million students. And 198 hospitals around the world. And it's all because we love Jesus.
All my life, I've been dealing with projects. I do a lot of research. Basically try to understand how different materials affect fires. It involves a lot of formulas and gathering data. I met this girl once in grad school, and we got to talk about all kinds of things, and also about God. It was great. I could share with her what I believed in. And then I got busy with my own research and realized I may have treated her like a project. Like, I kind of expected her to change herself. But people are so much more than projects. There's some kind of human connection to it. I think we're supposed to share our lives with those around us, but sometimes just being with them, being their friend, that's the best way to find true connection. And that's what witnessing is to me, relationships and friendships.
Hi, I'm Pastor Elardo Davis.
I'm Pastor Dennis McCullough.
We are the hosts of your Bible study series, Words of Wisdom. In 2 Timothy 3:16, God reminds us that all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof,
for correction, and for instruction in righteousness.
Words of Wisdom is a specially designed program brought to you by ATN in an effort to share the Advent message to our friends and faithful viewers who are yearning to build a growing and saving relationship with Jesus Christ. If you want to learn more about our rich Adventist heritage, basic fundamental belief, counsel on courtship and marriage,
or simply a deeper study of God's written word, then join us Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. on our Facebook and YouTube pages, as well as Channel 98 on Central TV. Join in and be a part of this special Bible studies effort by praying that God continues to lead and bless this ministry, by becoming a faithful viewer and inviting your friends and family to like and share our programs, by your kind donations and of course your generous financial contributions. Contact us at 416139351 or send us an email at atn@cbm.belizeunion.org. We are located at 10 3/4 miles Philip Golson Highway. Thank you for being a part of the ATN ministry. It is our prayer that you will keep the book of the law always on your lips.
meditate on it day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to that which is written therein. Then thou shalt make thy way prosperous and have good success.
Good night and welcome to our favorite nighttime show, Youth Come Alive. And tonight I am your host, Aislinn Murillo, and with me we have our co-host,
Kayla Esquiliano.
Daniel Antonio.
Right, and in our hot seat for tonight is Mrs.
Ashanti Pakeman.
Mrs. Ashanti Pakeman. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Channel 95, go tell your friends so that they can join us. So this month we are entering into a new season because it's Women's Month. And we're going under the topic, the strength of a woman. And tonight we're going to start off with the strength of a mother. Now, Miss Ashanti here is a mother. She's not only a mother, but she also mother children that she teaches. How do you cope with doing all that?
I get up every morning and I pray. Without pray, you won't make it.
So what's the difference between dealing with your children at home and coming to church and dealing with your children at school?
Okay, so dealing with my children at home, I can discipline them. It's not corporal punishment when it comes to my children because we know from the Bible to spare not the rod and spoil the child, right? So I have to discipline them where discipline needs. But with my children at school, I have to love them with words. I have to take away little privileges such as a shorter break time and thing that doesn't count much for them. So it's easier at home where we can be the full-on mother than being the teacher, right?
I see you choosing your words over there. You know, I don't know because I'm not a mother, but I know that it's probably a beautiful experience to have that that privilege, I would say, or that the honor of being a mother. What's your how do you feel being a mother? I mean, it's a cliche question, but how does it feel in being a mother? Okay, let's take away all the rudeness and all the punishment that they might probably have to get. Take away all that. Now share with me the privilege of having these children gifted to you.
Well, the greatest part of being a mother is watching your children accomplish different milestones. My oldest son, he's in Fort Farm.
Wow.
It hasn't been very easy getting him there because it takes motivation.
Correct.
And when he get his grades and you see all the hard work coming into play and you see, well, graduation is right around the bend, that makes you feel accomplished knowing that, man, I have a bright child, or I did my best and now the rest is out there. And then little things that they do, right? You're sitting down and sometimes they just come and lie in your lap and say, I love you, or do something weird like my middle child. He's the one, you know, that you always have that one that knows how to turn the key to unlock the door. He's that one, so he's always doing something out of the ordinary to make you feel special.
I wonder if it's really special.
I just want to add to what you said, because while my mom, when she was alive, she was also a teacher. And, I was at the same school that she taught at. So, as kids, you have this kind of love-hate about that situation because you get special treatment when it comes to punishment. Because I remember at one point when I did something I wasn't supposed to do, and I got the punishment in front of the class.
Yeah.
And it was tough because only me got my Maya at school and nobody else have to go through it. Yeah.
I think it's a matter of shame.
Man.
But then I think also it comes to shows that you're not, how I would say, wavering, because that same discipline that you implement at home is something that should be everywhere. No, because it be disrespectful at home, you're only supposed to punish him there. If he's doing it outside in public, or at school, you're supposed to punish them as well.
Well, when it comes to being a mother, at the same child, the school your child goes to is very hard. Mm-hmm. 3 of them went to the school that I am teaching, right? And
so they get special privilege like you, Danielle.
If they do certain things at the school, it makes you look like, man, she want to tell me this and then she can't get it together, right?
Yeah.
So you have to let your children know that if you do it, what do you think the others are going to do? So you have to make the example from them that you would want to make from the others.
Yeah, but then being the example, it's not really fun. But I understand where you're coming from because then, you know, being a teacher and a mother, it's two roles that you're basically taking on. And that's something that it's not really something that a lot of females, I would say, want to take on because I hear a lot of females nowadays, they keep on saying that they don't want to have kids. Especially those that have interaction with children from a very young age. They don't want to go through that experience again. But it's a blessing that is only bestowed upon a female by God. And that is the reason why the devil, he actually is attacking females hard when it comes to that.
You know, Daniel, you said the truth because I started to teach at age that was 20. I started to teach at 20 and I did that for 7 years.
Wow.
And so okay, and I stopped counting down because people are trying to guess the age. Anyways, I did that from I was 20, and after teaching from class to class, I mean, mothering those children, that was a lot. And then the classes get bigger and bigger as you go by. And where I started, it was at preschool. And that was 25 and 15 in the afternoon. And so that was a lot. And then all of them became a birth control pill. So imagine swallowing all that, you know, all that every time. It makes me wonder sometimes, is this the road I would like to go on?
Yeah.
Because
I think it builds your character, because then I think you learn, like as you guys were talking about example, you learn by example sometimes to say the students that you guys are teaching, you don't want your child to be like that. Sometimes it tends to be like, this picnic only rude. No, I don't want to have no kids, or more than one of them are very rude. So it kind of makes you know that these are not the way that you want your kids to grow up, and then some other persons, they take it in the way. That picnic are too rude for me. I don't want none for myself.
But when you have children like that, the ones that give the most trouble, when you be for them, because not all of them have that motherly figure, that fatherly figure. So when you be for them what nobody's been for them, sometimes they do make a change, and that makes you feel accomplished also. So when you see the changes in your children, when you see the growth, even in their grades, even in their something that they used to do, and then it just went up a notch, that makes a big difference.
You know, that it is, you know, what was weird, when I was teaching, like from when I moved from preschool and I went up to in standard 2, thereabouts, standard 2, standard 3, I remember meeting a child that wasn't doing their best. And the child started to do his best when I got there as a teacher. And when they saw where he was ranking in the class, they were wondering if I was giving the child grade. And so I had to ask to see the child grades from previous classes just to know. And then when the child went into another class, it was like a complete different thing again. And so it made me look as if though I was really giving this child some grade, but it was just the figure and the encouragement that was given to him, I guess, when I was there. Because one thing I always tell my students, I will laugh with you. Not all teachers will laugh with you and give a good laugh, because if they believe that if they laugh with you, then you won't be able to maintain your respect outside of that. I will laugh with you and I will play with you. I will play with you when the year is finished. But they look forward for me to play with them at the end of the year. But what I do was to encourage where I see a need, I would give. And so it was just the difference in the figure that the child saw that made them had a change. And so what Miss Ashanti just said just now, made me reflect back on that child. Now I have a question to ask.
Wait,
Go
sorry.
go
Before
ahead.
you go into your questions, we have comments here
Okay.
from Jeremy. Chub, why Dan, you look handsome. Anyways, you were my favorite. He said, God places
Appreciate
a
it, bro.
huge task on the shoulders of those chosen to be mothers, a true noble calling. He said, Cho, he remember how my mama deal with me when I made a go to primary school. LOL, I will never forget that. I think when you focus on the negative, it can deter you. But when you think about the special times and all that it can help to make up your mind positively. It's a plus. Many times when you meet these children, they have a foundation laid by someone with different values. With your own child, you have the ability to lay the foundation for them to build from, and to a great extent, you can determine how that child behaves. A mother's touch is different from that of a teacher. But that's true, but going back to that mother's touch, you wouldn't say that as a teacher, those, kids in your class are like your kids in itself. So then how do you
differentiate?
Yeah, how do you not be a mother as a teacher?
As a teacher, you're a mother figure. But when at home, you are the mother. So when I can say, just leave that child, you did your best. When it comes to your child, you have to push.
Correct.
Because there's only so much I could do for somebody else's children. Because when it comes down to discipline, or when it comes down to something, you could call a parent for the whole entire year, and you say one thing, or you do one thing to that child, and then you see the real parent. But when it comes to your own child, you are always going to, I don't know, even as old as we are, our parents still try to lead us the right way. Even when we go astray, they're still there praying. Sometimes we hurt their knees. But that's what a mother do. They always push for their children for the best. With your student, there's just a limit that you can go. You don't go home with them. You don't know how far it goes. You would want to do more, but it's always so much you can do.
And, talking about mothers, it's strange that we have deviated so much from what the roles of a mother should be. Because if you take a look at the generation prior to the generation of females now, there is so much of a gap in terms of morals, in terms of children rearing, so many different things. And it has diminished the strength that a female actually has and the impact they have on their home, so much so that it is even weird to see a family that has the strength of a female in it, if you would say, or if you would go to that extent.
In some homes, like what you say, in some homes, if you look at homes now, you have mothers just giving birth to children and giving them on to their aunts, on to their grandmother.
Yeah.
I never had that privilege. When you see me, you see three. Wherever I go, they go. I didn't have anybody growing up that you could watch her, like that. No. Where I went, they went. And that is what gives you the strength, because you know that you have to do it. You have lives depending on you. It gives you a purpose. It gives you, like they always say, you can just give up. But if I give up now, what happens to my children? Like the biggest fear for a mother is not dying. It's what happens to my children after I die. Like it's a real struggle.
Yeah. I have to piggyback off from what Danielle was saying just now. That the strength of a mother inside a home, because yes, the dad's strength is necessary for rearing up their sons and their daughters, because your children have daddy issues or mommy issues, but when you see a child having mommy issues, you see where there's a lot of damage psychologically, and then not only psychologically, but then you start see them behaving with these with these problems, and it comes with, in different format, their retaliation for things. And I would say, I mean, it looks the same way when a boy is having daddy issues. But when you see there's a stronghold on that family, majority of the time you see comes from that mother. That mother to carry, because they carry. Because yes, the father is, I always remember the picture when I think about the strength of a woman. The father is out there lifting the world on his back, and then the mother and the children on the side praying.
Yeah.
And it's in the prayers where her strength lies, or where her strength comes from. Because I don't see how I barely could manage going to work, coming here, going there, writing my reports, and then have a weekend.
Yeah.
Now imagine you have to go here, there, work, writing lesson plans, feeding 3 picnic, then you have your husband on the side and there, then you have other things that you need to accomplish for your own self. It's how do you deal with that? 3 picnic, your husband, work.
It got easier now, because it used to be work, school, children, work, school, children.
So then how do you find time to separate yourself and take care of your mental and have to deal with your kids as well?
There has to be a point when you say, now is that time to stop.
Yeah.
Children, you're ready, pack a bag, and then you leave, you go, you're swimming. Something you have to take that time out to do. I get up, I must say, every morning, and I cook. I have to cook, right? If I don't cook, then I have to find money for all 5 of us to eat every day. Wow. So before that, we cook, and then when you come home in the afternoon, food is still there. Yeah. So my mornings start like that, with me cooking, and then me getting them ready. You know, you have to check. They're all big, so you have to say, you brush your teeth, you got to, you find your belt, you put in your socks, and then they're growing, and you have the YouTube and the game. So while they're getting ready, they're still playing that. So whatever you're doing, you have to go back and make sure that they're getting ready. Then by the time I'm done with that, it's for us to leave through the door. Then I go to work. Then I have a set of 17 children.
Wow.
Then you have to grade papers, grade homework, and then you have to make tea, right? You have to make supper, because they have to eat again when evening comes.
You wish sometimes they only eat one time a day.
Yeah, and then you still have to remind them, as big as they are, you brush your teeth, you done bathe, you done wash up. You know, like sometimes they go crazy, like some days, like especially on Fridays, they go home. I usually reach home like 2. They are always home before me. And every Friday, for some reason, I have to say, the white clothes done in the machine is never in the machine, right? So as a mother, there's never an off switch. Because even when you're sleeping, you remember something, you have to check, see if the stove my left hand or the crock pot or something. So with that, sometimes I just tell my kids, let's go take a swim, let's go take a walk, let's go do something. You have to take a break and do something, or else you're
going crazy.
We have more comments here. We're going to German one. It says, most women have become career-driven, and to a great extent, a few even look down on the role of motherhood. But there are few greater responsibilities. Reina says, like the Bible verse, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he or she gets old, he shall not depart from it. Few responsibilities are as fulfilling as noble. So Jeremy says, to a great extent, my success and the success of many people can be linked back to the support of a good mother. I think people who balance careers and motherhoods need to learn to have fun. If not, they would explode.
Right.
Just like what Mr. Shanti was saying. I think there's key in setting out that time for yourself and for yourself with your kids. Because then you don't want to be selfish and be like, well, I need my time now, and then you go away from there, and next thing you know, you run back to your house, kind of burn down. Right? So I think that is what we need to do. Always set time out as mothers with your kids, because I think a mother's role is very beautiful,
Right.
and it teaches you a lot.
I think this is where you go in the bathroom and take extremely long showers. I just want to know that, like, because you're in the house, and there's everybody there, and then also you have to deal with the part where they're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
They're fighting over a remote, or they're fighting over somebody else's own device, or they're fighting over something simple. Where do you say, where do you take a time? Like,
yeah.
where do you run to? Is because the bath
outside.
Because to me, when my house get chaotic, the bathroom seems like the most quiet place.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go and take an early shower and take a very long one at that.
When the house gets crowded and the boy says, Mom, can I go and play basketball? Sure.
Immediately.
They don't have to ask twice.
Oh, man.
Go, and then they take an hour, and then for that hour you rest.
You're relaxed.
Right.
I just wanted to add to that. You see where it's key to have both roles in the house, the father and the mother, because then it's key to have both influences on the child that they can actually grow up in an environment that is key. Now, looking mainly on the mother, their role is important, especially to the husband, because they are a support. If they have a family, they have kids, it's the role of the mother to actually rear up the child in the absence of the father. If the mother is not present there as well, you see that a lot of influences can then take over and rear your children. That's where you see babysitting comes in and these different things. And nothing is wrong with them, but you have to actually set time for family and for your kids.
So it's not only where you put the baby to get babysitting, but who you're allowing to be that mother figure to influence that
Correct.
child. Because at this tender age, it's extremely
Important.
and sensitive. They're sucking everything in. With that, let us go on our break. It's already at that time. So let's go for a break, and we will be right back in a very short time.
Are you on a health journey for the new year? Have you been looking for nutritious and delicious health food substitutes and cannot find it anywhere in town?
Well, we've got good news for you. Raquel Imports proudly presents a new Soya Pack line of products, which includes soy-based milk options and meat substitute, 100% caffeine-free corn coffee.
What?
Yes, you heard that right! 100% caffeine-free corn coffee and much more.
This can't get better than this!
These products are now available for immediate purchase at Raquel's Imports, located at 3A Street, Kings Park, Belize City, and coming soon to a store near you. Direct message our Facebook page or call us at 611-0601 for more details. Soya Pack, a healthier option for you.
been crazy lately, though. Last week, this tornado just crashed through my entire neighborhood. Everything went dark. We had, like, no electricity, nothing. All of my classes are online, and that's why it's really difficult to keep up with everything. But, you know, I think God calls me in the midst of all of this chaos and noise and, I don't know, everything. But he doesn't compete for just my attention. He competes for my heart. That's why I need to spend time with him in the quiet. And it's so interesting to me that even though I'm with him in just those quiet moments, experiencing him is not quiet. It's so much more, much greater and fulfilling. And that's the fascinating thing. His power is not just bound to those quiet moments, but they give me the trust and strength that I need every day.
Yeah! We are here in Belize. We want to say to all of our pathfinders and master guide, yes, even the adventurers. Yeah! We are heading to Jamaica. 2 more months and a half. Come on, as we register. We want you to be there. Pathfinders in mission. Yeah! In Jamaica. Adventurers, pathfinders, master guides. Yeah! Get ready, because on the 4th to the 8th of April 2023, we will be there in Jamaica. Get ready. 2 more months and a half. We gotta be there, Pathfinder.
Back to our You Come Alive show this evening, where we are focusing on the strength of a woman. If you know, or you have someone that you know have this unbelievable strength, send them the link so they can join us and tell us about their story. On our set today we have Miss Ashanti, and she is telling us about the strength that she has. Miss Ashanti, so as we go into the remainder of our show, we understand that you had, I would say, career change. Mm-hmm. How has that change really affected you? Did it make you, the woman that you are? Was it hard? Was it tough? Tell us how that was for you.
Well, my whole journey has made me who I am. I started when I was in Canaan. I went to Canaan High School. I dropped out when I was in Fort Farm. Wow. I was already in my first semester of Fort Farm, and I got pregnant with my son. And I was like, well, I can't just sit down. So I started off at Radical, all the way up at Boom. And we used to, when you go to work at 8, used to come back home at 6, 7, whenever the bus reached. And I was like, all right, this one isn't working. And then I went to Birdsall. I was at Birdsall for 4 years. I was there for 4 years. And then while being there, I got pregnant again with my second son. I ended up going to Travelers. All these jobs that I've got, they taught me something different. I learned patience. I learned to cook. I learned to serve others. I learned to work with others, because that wasn't the person that I was, right? I was easily angered. Then I went to Travelers. I was at Travelers for like 3 months, and then I was pregnant with my last child, and I was like, all right, no more night job for me. I think my children, they need me more than anything else, so no more night job. And I went to AHL's. I was also at AHL's for about 3 years. I was at AHL's, flipping burgers and just doing what you have to do to survive, to put food on the table. And then I was like, all right, so none of this is working out. So I went back to school. I didn't finish fourth, so I went back to Gwendolyn's night school. While I was there, I had to work because you just can't do nothing. So I used to clean with that lady. I would make $100 for 3 days a week. Just imagine. And babysitter, Pampers, all of that came out, that 100. And while doing that, I was going back to school and I was like, I have to do this. And I started going back to church, finding my way back to God, because I knew who he was. He never left me, I left him. And going back to God, I realized that I want to be in the church. I want to do what I have to do. And then I started to teach the kindergarten class. I was just there sitting in church one day and they said, Sabbath school meeting, anybody want to be the kindergarten teacher? Come that afternoon. So I showed up. I don't know why, but I did. And then from there, I was like, they had something at Tubal. And the principal from James Garber said, I heard you're a good teacher. I said, a what? She said, I heard you're a good teacher. I said, yes, Sabbath school teacher. And it was like, if you go back to school and get it right, then you can come and get a job. So I started Sixth Farm. Where did the money come from? Only God knows, right?
Amen.
And Sixth Farm, and I was there. And it was the hardest time of my life. That's where the whole switch began. Because I've been a mother. I've never left my children like that. And now I have to leave them to go to school. And then it was like, what are they eating? What are they doing? Who is checking the homework? Who is doing this? So when I would come home from school at night, if you miss the bus from UB, you have to walk. So I reach home about 8, 9 in the night. And I would still have to go and check homework. I would tell them, leave it on the table. Make sure they had something to eat. Make sure they still did what they have to do. And while doing this, I was working. So I'm working, I'm being a mom, I'm being a wife. I'm doing all of this thing, and it's like, where do we go? What am I doing? And eventually, like, now that I've graduated, you can see what the difference, you know, you're like, now I'm grounded, that I can take care of the children. Correct. Because where I was, it's like catch and kill. You have to fight to survive. Now you're sure that something is coming in and you can help them, I can do for them now better than I was doing before. Right. So my motivation, the thing that motivated me the most was my children. They gave me a purpose. If I didn't have my children, I don't know like what would I have been doing, because now that I have something and somebody relying on me, I have to push forward to make sure that they're okay. And while making sure that they're okay, I have to make sure that I am okay. So I always tell everybody the joke that when payday comes, before I even do anything, pay any bill, I buy myself something to eat. So payday is Bird's Eye Day or Celebrity Day, and then what goes home goes home. But I have to pay myself for working this hard so that I can go back now and do for them.
Correct,
That's
correct.
a reward. You know, you said something earlier that says throughout these job changes, you learned something. Maybe sometimes you don't like to see the God in our situation because it's too hard. So God understood what you needed now. So he was putting you through a series of I would say stop signs, putting you through a series of stop signs and pedestrian bumps, because you know when you reach a pedestrian bump you have to stop, or else whatever depend it will get knocked down. So he was putting you through these stop signs in order to refurbish, to fix, to mold back.
Like a training ground.
A training ground to fix your character in a way he knew you needed to have now for this time while serving these children, because sometimes, like when you said you went to HL's, you were flipping burgers, you keep on moving from one of the same jobs. And I always remember the song Cycles from Jonathan McReynolds. He said, the devil watch your mistakes and then it carry around in a cycles. And I know that when you learn the lesson, it carry you back right to that same point, so that you could be able to do over. And until you learn the lesson, then you move you from it. So I guess you learned your lesson, and because you're there a new area, one new complete different dimension of your life from where you were then to now.
I believe if I had gotten this job that I have now, maybe I'd have been in jail, because I believe that
there you go.
Something, like the things these children try you with, I would have already spanked somebody's child. I would have, and then it would have gotten me in trouble. So I believe the patience that I've learned and the love that I have grown to love things, even in my Sabbath school class, it's still a trying process, because now we have the kinders mixing with the juniors, and some of the kinders they don't keep still. I did preschool 1 year and I cried every day, so hats off to the preschool teachers.
And I enjoyed preschool.
I did preschool 1 year and I cried every day. I went home, I cried. I was like, Lord, please let this year be over with so that I can go to a new class, because that's not my field. Preschool is not my field. We take back that song because I don't want to go back through that trying ground. I've learned my lesson. It's not for me. All right. So I understand that God has a purpose for us. Yeah. And if He had given me what I have now, I wouldn't have been doing with it what I'm doing with it now. Even my friends, I tell them, if you were my friend, I don't think we would have been friends for long, because the person that I used to be, I'm not that same person now. You grow and you live and you learn, right? I started off at 17. I'm no longer there. My son is almost 17 now. So we live and we learn.
Kayla, we have some comments here, and it starts right here at Jemima.
It said, as women, we need to know the power we have. We are amazing beings. It is also important that we are aware of our priceless value and cherish every bit of it. I don't think we are ever recognized enough for being a woman. We are great and we should be treated as such, and I enjoy every bit of it. Jemima also says, you are amazing, Ashanti. Jeremy says, you are very strong. I am glad for your story, because sometimes people are scared of the sacrifice, but the sacrifice is necessary for a better future. I remember my mom balancing studying while raising the 5 of us. Stories like these are very important and inspirational. These are the women who build the future, the ones that face the sacrifice and manage to raise productive members of society.
And adding to that, because in my home, that was the same situation, because my mom, she was going to school, she was teaching, and then she had 3 of us as well. And growing up as a young boy, you see that determination that your mother had to say, you know what, it doesn't matter what situation that I am currently in, I am trusting God, I'm praying, and I'm doing my best to get myself out of it, but not only myself, but also my kids as well. And it's a blessing, because that same determination and strength that the woman has trickles down to their child as well, if they are able to see that. And women are very strong beings, you can say, because you endure child labor, you endure a lot of things, correct? I don't even want to think about those kinds of things, right?
Right.
So I say hats off to all females, and continue to try your best. Trust God. He will be the one to be your strength, and He will be the one to change your situation for the better.
Right. we're going to take it into a little different, not different, but a little going Bible. Let's go into the Bible. Let's dig into some mothers inside the Bible, and let's think about some of them. I know earlier we were mentioning about Moses' mother, and the quick thinking that she had to think in order to have saved her son.
Right.
Because at that time they were just
killing all of them.
Killing all those firstborn boys. And she had her only son. Right. And she had to make a decision at that point.
So going, because you explain it, because you had
Before he goes ahead, I just want to build on what Aislinn said. I believe most mothers are like Moses' mom.
Right.
Because sometimes, like, just for an example, if you have something that's your last thing that you should eat, parents, mothers, they usually give the last to their children and do without. So most mothers are always there to protect their children.
Correct.
So most of us would do the same thing what Moses' mother do. Try our best to say, if he dies with me saving him, so be it. But I'm going to do what I can in order for him to make it.
Correct. And you know, I want to say that I try my best to emulate that same characteristic, because my mom, she always does that. We didn't have much, but the little that we had, she always gave it up so that we can have. And it's something that motivates me so much that I want to, you know, have such an abundance that I can, you know, give to others as well, so that they can actually enjoy that blessing as well. And going back to Moses' mom, she had that quick thinking that I believe every mother is actually given by God, intuition, because you hear a lot of stories or scenarios where mothers are in situations where their children are in a burning house or they're pinned underneath a vehicle and they have that quick thinking to say, I'm going to save this child no matter what. You see, so these are different things that God blesses a female with that actually adds to their woman strength, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. And then I could also go to Hannah. I'll go to Hannah. Despite her having that lack of a child for a first,
right,
and knowing that she wanted one, and having this next woman just provoking the living lights out of her. But when she got that son, the thing that she did, I don't know how many
would be able to do
would
that.
be able to give up their first son to go and live, you know. Imagine if you were back in the Bible time, you think you would give Christopher up to...
I would give both of us up. He will live there and I'll be cleaning the temple, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give both of us up.
So, man, I don't know. I don't know how you do it. But hats off.
Yeah.
Hats off to you and the sacrifices you've made throughout your time.
It's like a survival skill.
Right.
You live and you learn. It doesn't come with a manual. You just have to live and learn and grow. I wasn't always a good mother. You would yell at your children and you would beat them and you would do this, and then as you grow, you know that's not the way it should be. Talking to them, communicating with them, loving them, showing them, because there's a saying that says the hardest thing to do is to beat the you out of your child. So if that is what they're seeing, that is what they're going to do. So you have to change within yourself so that they can.
Oh, no wonder my mama used to beat me like that.
I have to say, going back to what Miss Ashanti said, you know, her sacrifices and everything that led up to her being the woman that she is today. We can say there's a lot of women in the Bible that have the experience of being a mother, but as well, there's stories or there's situation that leads them up to them being the woman that they are and the woman that they have become when they become mothers. Like, for example, you were talking about Hannah. She was a prayerful woman.
Right.
She knew that it would have taken sacrifice and determination and always praying to get what she wants. The same thing with Miss Ashanti. She knew that that sacrifice was something that she wanted to eventually meet in the end, come out on top, you would say. So she sacrificed doing all these things that helped her become the woman that she is today. We have Ruth. She went through a lot, but although because she lost her husband, but although she had lost her husband, she did not give up that, being with God, staying with God. There's a lot of other Esther. There's a lot of women in the Bible that has that strength, the power, the vigor that we should look up, as well as people in today's society, that we should look up to, that you would say sacrifice a lot to become that the woman that they are today.
Mary had to give up.
I was just going to say...
give up her only son.
Yeah.
No, I have to go to that. Let's look at it in two different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Mary had to give up her only son. And then we have Abraham and Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
The mother knew that she was giving up her only son, but she understood but didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And but Mary knew that she had to give up her only son. Now, in those two situations, what you think? I don't know how they handle that. Just a mother losing a son in itself is crazy. Now imagine knowing the purpose of why you're giving up your son and give
I could relate. Like in the Bible, it tells you about the two women that went before the king with one baby dying and the other one trying to take the baby, and the king came up with the thought to say, cut the baby in half.
Oh, yes.
I could relate to that mother. I think I'm more like that mother, because if it comes down to me giving up my son for him to stay alive, for him to grow, and I can still get to watch him from afar and to still see him growing and know that one day, eventually, he'll know that I'm his mom. You have to make sacrifices like that. And when Jesus was growing up, Mary knew a time was going to come when he would have to be the savior for the world. So while she was there growing him, she was growing him with purpose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we all know that one day our children will leave home. So it's our duty now to continue to grow them up with purpose, grow them up to want to be somebody, to be something in society. So whatever sacrifice we make is for them to be a better version of us.
Mm-hmm. To represent you on the outside, because Jesus represented God on the outside.
Right. Going back to exactly what Miss Ashanti said, Jeremy said Mary, the mother of Jesus, was chosen not at random, but because her character was one that was exemplary. She was able to raise a son that never sinned and grew up with compassion and love and strong enough to stand for principles.
Man.
Just as Miss Ashanti was saying, she knew that eventually she had to give up her son, but still she raised him at most best.
Right. Pastor Jella said something there as well.
While she's looking for that, I have a question that I want to ask the mothers, I would say. Why do when you actually punish your child, you begin crying as well? I've had that experience where
you call it tough love. It's really tough love. If I don't do it, then you'll feel like it's okay. And and it says, when your mom said it's gonna hurt you more than it hurts me, it's not something I want to do. But if I don't do it, like my children, when we used to go to church, I used to tell her, you see the way how you behave until you reach home. And they would cry because they knew that when I reach home, and I'll forget. So they would start crying from the step, and I tell them, if I don't do it, you go back to church next week and you'll say, she just made talk.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to swallow it hurt with, and we have to do it. We have to discipline, because if we spare the rod, then the child will be spoiled.
Well, they good because I get it home, I get it behind the church. Like, no.
Mama used to carry outside.
Yeah,
pop, pop.
I remember, and it's really embarrassing, you know, because I remember one day I went to the college for my son. He was in first farm. The first and the only time I went to college. And the teacher was talking, and while she was talking and saying, Christopher, I was screwing off the broom off the bottom, the stick.
Man.
And I just, one time, and I never got called to school again. Sometimes we have to do what we have to do for that child to form the character that is right.
Yeah.
That's all everyone knows.
Going back to what Pastor Gamboa said, he said, greeting to these wonderful young servants and viewers. Powerful mothers pray. Mothers give life through the womb. Mothers sacrifice. Mary's sacrifice, and Jesus was born for us. Mothers are a blessing in the mission of God.
Amen.
Amen.
And with that, we are at our last couple minutes. And Mr. Ashanti, I just want to ask you to leave an encouragement to young mothers, because we're on a youth show. So we're talking to the young people. Yes, the older ones can hear, but we're talking to the young people like yourself, young mothers. Leave an encouragement for them.
Never give up. No matter what it seems like now, no matter how rough it may seem, never give up. Keep on pressing on, keep on praying. Their strength comes from God.
Amen.
It might not look that way, because it didn't look that way at first, like God. But if you keep on praying and understanding that it's in God's timing and not your timing, and keep on doing what God asks you to do, sacrifice for your children, do all that you need to do, you will see your children grow older, and as they grow older, you will begin to feel accomplished.
Amen.
Amen. With that, I just have to say that, speaking about the strength of a woman, you see, you hear stories, and you can never really experience it, I believe. Other than when you have your mother, you can never experience it until you have a child. And I think what we need to do is just look to others, for example, look to other mothers, other women in our society that has that strength. I really appreciated that Ms. Ashanti told us her story about how she went through different situations in her life, and those situations allowed her to become the woman that she is. She explained that she was someone that was easily angered. She did not have a lot of patience. She did not have that type of love. But that sacrifice and those situations that she went through allowed her to gain those experiences. And I pray that when these experiences come to us, we don't complain about it. We just accept it as it is and allow God to help us through it, so those can build our character, so we can leave those characters with our children.
You know, we like to cry for God to take us out of the situation, not realizing that at some point He's going to put us right back there in order for us to learn that lesson. You never learn.
Put your back in something where you're not real.
I'll teach you to be grateful. And so, I'm not a mother, so I can't leave no encouragement, but all I can say is to continue to hold on to Jesus, because
stop giving them all trouble now.
children, young people that are listening, stop giving them so much trouble. Calm down. Let them make them breathe a little bit. Give them a foot massage instead, no? Or rub their head. Go get the food off of it. Go get the food out of the pot. Make tea for your mom and help her out so that they could be able to take a break.
Any last words?
Just one sentence I want to add. Don't wish times were easier, wish you were better.
Yeah.
Lovely. A lovely way to end our night.
Sadly.
Repeat that one more time.
Don't wish times were easier, wish you were better.
And with that, we like to say thank you for joining us here on our nightly Tuesday night show. And we encourage you to be back with us. Not next week. Next week we are going to have a break because of the crusade. So next week we won't be here, but be back with us on the following week. Good night.
As a non-profit organization, the Adventist Television Network solely relies on your financial support. By partnering with us through a monthly donation, you will help us to continue to fulfill the mission in taking the gospel into all the world. For more information, please call 613-9351 or email us at atnfin@cbm.belizeunion.org. Thank you for your prayers and support of the ATN ministry, and together we may hasten the soon coming of our Lord Jesus Christ.